Hi, Brown Markets of Value. So today we're going to talk about Day One Biopharmaceuticals. Now, this stock jumped up 125% in one day. Now, that's pretty incredible. So the biggest question is, what do these guys do? Well, the minute you see biopharmaceutical in the name, you immediately understand, hey, they basically made a breakthrough in terms of a certain study. And basically, or they got a certain approval. So, the minute you know biopharmaceutical, you'll get used to seeing these increases in these stocks. But of course, if they don't perform, they could easily go the other way around and drop like an incredible amount as well. So hence why these stocks are high risk, high reward sometimes. So what these guys do, as this headline puts it, they posted Day One Biopharmaceutical scores triple digit gains with bullish numbers in brain cancer. So now if you kind of achieve something like that within that kind of area, then of course the market's going to reward you. And basically, like if we go at the end of May, the stock was like about 550, 560 type of numbers, and then it basically finished at 1496, giving the valuation of $926 million. Now, how good were their numbers? Okay, so it says Day One Biopharmaceutical said on Monday, more than 90% of patients with brain cancer benefited from its experimental treatments, which is really, really good to see like that high of a number kind of react really, really well. And then basically, further tumors shrank 64% in those patients. So basically 90% of patients responded well. And in 64 of those patients saw their tumors shrink, and basically their tumors diminished by 19 to 43% in size. So yeah, those are really, really good numbers. So hence why the market just reacted really, really well. And the initial data is based on the first 22 patients who could be evaluated. So 22 patients is an alright sample. Again, if you followed another stock that I talked about in the past, one was Veru, and sometimes the numbers can get scrutinized. But I think given the type of area these guys are in, like 22 patients is not too bad, particularly I think there was a phase 2 study, which means basically it's not entirely about the numbers yet. It's about how effective it is. So basically, after this, they will be going to their phase 3 kind of trials very, very soon. So yeah, basically, where are we? Here we go. So here's the results. You can go to the Day One Biopharmaceuticals, go to the investor, and then look at the information, the news that comes out, and you'll find this result. So as I put, that Day One plans to initiate a pivotal phase 3 clinical trial of basically their drug, with first patients dose expected in Q3 this year, basically. So they're on to phase 3 very, very soon. Apparently, I think they will have results possibly start of next year. So yeah, like in terms of a timeline for biopharmaceuticals, it's not too long. But there's a lot of cases where companies perform really, really well in phase 2 results. And in phase 2, or phase 3, that's when the results are usually a little lower than what phase 2. But it seems like the phase 2 results were really, really positive. So if the phase 3 results are a little bit lower, that's still not too bad, and it seems like it will still come out pretty well. So that's how I'm seeing it anyway, in terms of these kind of trials. Usually phase 1 and 2, those results are really, really good. But once it goes to phase 3 and it's done over a larger range of people, the results don't tend to be as great. But given how positive phase 2 is, phase 3 shouldn't be too bad. But again, it's hard to say. This is just guessing as well. But yeah, like it's definitely a massive breakthrough and very, very positive for the stock. Though, yeah, there's the problem that, hey, sometimes when these stocks rise a lot, they do fall a lot because there's a lot of profit takers. And the biggest question is, what's this really worth, you know? So I look into their quarterly financials, and basically their cash position is $262 million at the end of March. So it's a very, very healthy cash position. The research and development expense was $15 million for the first quarter. So the cash burn is really, really low. So that's not too large of a worry. General and administrative expenses, $12.7 million for the first quarter. Net loss for the first quarter was $27.7 million, which isn't too bad. Like, for a company that's got $262 million in the bank, basically they're in a good position to kind of burn cash for the rest of the year and into next year. So yeah, like, no immediate kind of raises to be done, which is very, very good. Like, when you're looking at biopharmaceutical stocks, considering the time frame it takes to do anything, make sure they have a lot of cash, or else they're gonna raise money, they're gonna dilute your stock, and you're not gonna enjoy it. So if I go to 6 month, this is where the real picture shows. Like, this stock has been declining for a long time now. Since December, it's been declining all the way to $5. So that's the thing about buying into these stocks. Like, you see it and you go like, oh, the result was really good. The stock jumps up immediately at a very high, pace, basically, and all in one day, 125%. Which means there's a lot of profits to be taken, and I expect this stock to probably fall back down over time. Considering their next phase 3 results are going to be in quarter 3, and the results probably won't be out until the start of next year. That gives you plenty of time to wait for the stock to drop much lower before even considering buying it. So don't buy it today. Like, it's a bit too risky, especially after it's risen so much. And there's going to be a long period of time where nothing's going to happen, and basically you just want to wait for that situation, especially in this type of market where it's extremely weak. Once everything goes down, it all goes down. And day one pharmaceutical will likely be cheaper once there's not much news coming in, as we have seen with a lot of stocks. And that's potentially a good time to be buying in if you do like what they're doing and you don't mind time frame that you possibly could be waiting for this type of stock. But yeah, like, it's an incredible day to have 125%. But it was for a phase 2 study. Usually the last and most important one is the phase 3 study. That's when they know how good the product is, and that's when they take it for approval, and that's where the magic happens for the stock price. But until then, they're going to finalize these results, start getting phase 3 prepared, and then that's when they get things going. And I think between that time, usually the stock will fall, because there's not much happening. People get bored, people sell out. There's a lot of things that come in between. Pretty great result to have 90% that benefit from it, and then over 60% responding with their tumors shrinking. So you can look at those results and you'll be like, even if phase 3 results aren't as high, they will still make quite a difference. So at the end of the day, particularly in that kind of area, if you can make a difference, and particularly with cancers and all that, you're going to be very in a massive demand if you can actually prove the product is good and get it out into the market. But before then, we're in June right now, and it won't be at the start of next year before we find out what phase 3 results are going to be like, which is another half a year of waiting. So I believe that in that half a year, from what I've seen in stocks, particularly in the biopharmaceutical area, in the absence of news, things will get sold down, and I think that's when you get a good opportunity to buy at a much lower price and avoid the risk of FOMO. So don't have FOMO here. It's gone up 125%, and you'll be like, whoa, that was a massive gain. I need to get in because it looked like they did something really, really important. But again, you got to know what it is, and also it's not a revenue generating event immediately. So what I usually look for in stocks is firstly, they got to be doing something that's very high in potential of generating revenue within a shorter amount of time. That's kind of what I look for. When I talk about, say, like Vero, that's kind of what I see with the COVID treatment, that, hey, the minute they can get approval, that's revenue generating very, very quickly. But when I look at Day One Biopharmaceuticals, it's like these guys haven't done their phase 3 yet, and until they get their phase 3 going, there's a lot that can happen, and basically it's got that risk where the stock does fall. So hence why I take kind of a calculated approach and try not to get FOMO into it, Like, even if you really want to, like, go, I'm going to buy, I want to buy because I like what they did, and then this could potentially be worth a lot. I wouldn't always buy all in, particularly with biopharmaceuticals. You just got to be a bit cautious, and you got to, tailor your approach. Don't always jump in all at once with any stock, particularly in this market where you don't know where the bottom is, and particularly with a stock that's jumped up 125%, it could easily just drop back down to like $6-7 within a month or two. So, that's the kind of situation that is a reality, particularly with these stocks. Now, I think that's all I really have to say about these. Biopharmaceuticals, what they do is very complex, but in terms of a stock market point of view, it's pretty straightforward. You either have something going or you don't, and if you do, it's always about the next big step, and then basically that's it. So basically they made the massive step here, and then until they can make their next big step, which is more phase 3 results, the stock's not going to do much, because there's not really much to report, and hence why I usually see these stocks decline over time. But let me know what your thoughts are or anything like that, or if you've got any questions. Until then, good luck investing, and see you next time.